This kapitel was composed by David after he was betrayed by Achitophel. Now Achitophel in the past was very close to David. He was his great friend, and they used to study Torah together. And David even considered Achitophel his mentor. But unfortunately, Achitophel turned his back to David and betrayed him, and instigated that David's son Abishalom should rebel against David in his lifetime. David asks of God that God should deliver him, and he talks about how much this hurt him, that the people that were closest to him turned their back on him, and they betrayed him. And he expresses a deep faith in God that God is going to deliver him, and he asks from God that God should make the people that became his enemies have a downfall, and give them what they deserve. Lamnatseach, for the conductor, Benegines, with musical instruments, maskil David, a maskil for David. And he says, Hazina lekiv tfilasi, God should listen to my prayer, Ba'altis alam mit chinasi, and shouldn't hide himself from my pleas. Hakshivali, listen to me, Vaneni, and answer me, Arid besichi ve'ahima. I will lament in my speech when I relate my distress and my pain, and I moan. Mikol oyev, from the voice of the enemy, mipnei akas rasha, on account of the oppression of the wicked. Kiyamito alai oven, they cast evil about me. They accuse me of doing evil. Uve'af yistemuni, and out of great anger they hate me. Libi yachol bekirbi, my heart shudders within me. I'm full of anxiety. The aim is mavis naflalai, and the fear of death fall upon me. I mean, as we said before, this is referring to the rebellion of Abishalom against his father David, and Achitophel advised him to chase after him with soldiers. So there was a real fear of death over here. Yira v'orad yavivi, fear and trembling have come into me. V'techatzeni palotzus, and I have become overcome with horror. V'oimar, and I said, Mi yitinli ever kayona, who would give me wings like a dove? Ufa v'eshkoina, I would fly away and find rest, and I would find somewhere secure that I wouldn't have to be afraid of this. Hine archik nedoit, I would wander afar, alim bamidbar, and I would dwell in the desert, Selah. Achisha miflatli, I would quickly find shelter, Meruach soya misar, from a very violent wind. This is obviously, with the wind over here, is obviously referring to his enemies, which are like a violent wind. Bala Hashem, swallow them up, palag l'shoinam, split their tongue, meaning to say, make them quarrel, like this, they should be distracted from me. Karisi chamas v'riv ba'ir, for I already see violence and strife in their city, that they're quarreling about who will get the booty, who would get what. Yom and V'layla, day and night, Yisevavua l'chem asel, they encircle it on its walls, which means that in this parable there's a large city, and they surround the city with violence, and like this you can't bring any goodness into the city. The kirba, and they make sure that in the city there's iniquity and mischief that remains inside the city, and they guard the city on its walls, that nothing good could come inside. Havos bekirba, There's treachery inside the city, and fraud and mischief does not leave the main square of the city. And now David says how hurtful this cursing of Achitophel is. It's not a enemy that's cursing him. Achitophel used to be his close friend. If it would have been a close friend, if it would have been an enemy, he would have been able to bear it. But now that it's Achitophel, he can't. This is not an enemy that made himself big against me, who I could just hide from him. This is someone who I really know, which I can't just hide from him. And you, Achitophel, are a person from my stature. This means to say that David always respected Achitophel. He always accorded him honor. Alufi yudai. You are my guide, you are my teacher, my leader, and you are my intimate friend. Asher yachtov namtik soid. Together we used to share secrets, which the commentaries explain. They used to delve into the depth of the Torah. In the house of study, we used to go in one group and we used to study together. Now David says, Yashim Avisaleme, may God incite death against my pursuers, my enemies. Yerdu Shael Chayim, may they go to the grave alive. Meaning to say that they should die suddenly, and the death should come when right before that they were totally with it and alive. Kirais bim guram bim kirbam, because evil is in their dwelling, and that is what's within them. Ani Elikim Ekra, I call to God, Hashem Yeshieni, and God is going to save me. Erev Avikav Tzarayim, in the evening, in the morning, and at noon, Asicha, I speak to God. Ve'ema, and I moan, Vayishma Koili, and I have faith that God is going to listen to my voice. God has redeemed my soul in peace, meaning to say that in the case of Abishalom, before that it went to the battlefield, God already had redeemed me, Mikravli, from the war, Kivarabim Hayamadi, for the multitudes, the masses were with me, they prayed for me, and God always listens to the prayer of the masses. Yishma Keu, the Yanim, God heard them and answered the prayer of the multitudes. Yeshub Kedem, Selah, and who answered them? The one who sits from before everything, from the days of old. He's the one who listened to them and answered them that I should be saved. Asher ein chalifas lamai. And he says that God who sits from the days of old, he saves me from the people that don't have any transfer, meaning to say that they believe so much in themselves that they don't see that one day they're going to die, and they're not immortal, but they do not fear God. Now referring to Achitophel, the one who betrayed him, Shalach Yadav Bishlemov, he stretched out his hands against the people that were at peace with him, which means that David and Achitophel, they used to share a very great friendship, and nevertheless he betrayed that friendship for his own personal reasons. Chila Brisei, he profaned his covenant just for his own honor, because he saw that by getting Avishalom to rebel against David, who will have a greater position, and it suited him. The words of his mouth are smoother than butter, meaning to say that his words were very delightful and very smooth talk, but krav libay, but his heart was a war. Raku dvarav mishemen, his words were softer than oil. The hema of sichos, but in reality, his words were swords, and he used his smooth talk to trick David into thinking that that he was on his side. Now David gives general advice about faith in God, and he says, cast unto God your burden, and he's going to sustain you. He's never going to let the righteous person falter. And now for the wicked people, and you, God, you're going to lower them to the well of destruction. People of bloodshed and deceit, should not live out half their days. And the Talmud says that this refers to this curse of not living out half the days refers to the two big enemies of David, Achitophel and Doeg. Doeg we spoke about in a previous capital, how he betrayed David to King Shaul, and it says about him that he died in his 30s, and also about Achitophel, which we talk about in this capital. The Gemara also says that he died in his 30s. He didn't have his days. But he says, but for me, David says, for me, I trust in you that you are going to save me from my enemies. And unlike my enemies, I am going to live my full lifetime. And this is indeed true, that David lived a full 70 years.